Good morning. I'm Celeste King IV, Vice Chairman of the Congress for Racial Equality of California, and I'd like to thank everyone for being here today. We're here in regard to an issue that is of grave concern to us. It happens to be that we've become informed that there is a banking institution in Los Angeles, California, that seems to have engaged in predatory lending practices that have resulted in foreclosures, imminent foreclosures, and actual sales of church properties across Los Angeles and other areas of minority churches. This institution is Broadway Federal Bank. We further have information that the bank is doing this in violation of the law, meaning that the Office of Thrift Supervision has issued a cease and desist order, and it is our understanding that Broadway Federal Bank has agreed to that order and did so back in 2010. Since that period of time, they have continued to operate and continued to move forward when they were told that they were not supposed to and they agreed to. Not only that, their service corporation, which is the arm that institutes foreclosures or assignments of the information to a third party, was issued a suspension order by the state of California through the Secretary of State's office, which means they were suspended from doing anything in regard to, and it specifically states, moving forward with actions that had to do with foreclosures and other proceedings in regard to churches specifically. Now, they have continued to do so, and in the current situation we are aware of 59 churches that are being subject to these illegal actions. 59 churches that are being victimized by a predatory institution. That being said, I would like to step aside and let the pastor of one of the churches that's involved in this, Pastor Harden, and let him have the mic. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Pastor Darren Harding. I'm the pastor of the Great Open Door Church of God in Christ here in the city of Long Beach. And I'm here today because I know that we have been victimized by Broadway Federal. For 6 years, we were current with our payments, never missed. And I went to Broadway Federal and asked for a modification due to the effect of the recession. And Broadway Federal said they could not do that simply because we was on, our payments was all current, we had never been late. A few months later, a domino effect hit us as did the whole society, and we was late. And 3 months, almost 3 months, they went by, so I went back asked again for a modification. I was told then I could not get a modification until I bring everything up current. So I was kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. Now we are in foreclosure. This is a domino effect. It's affecting our congregation. It is affecting our community, the minority community which we serve. And I'm not alone in this. There's many pastors that are being victimized, and we are hurting. And we want you to know that Broadway Federal we feel that Broadway Federal have used predatory lending to put us to where we are now, and they have been ordered, as you heard before from Celeste King, they've been ordered to desist and also not to do things that we didn't know about. But we're here today just to open up the eyes of the community to these lending institutions that are attacking mostly minority community, and it is an effect on us, our people, our congregation, and our society. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Hart. I'd now like to bring forth Bishop Watt.
Thank you. I'm Bishop Raymond Watts. I'm the pastor of the New Direction Community Church. We're on the far end of the county, the city of Pomona. We also feel as though we've been victimized by predatory lending. with Broadway Federal Bank, our community is devastated. Naturally, our church congregation is devastated. We've been in the city for 46 years as a church. Myself have been pastoring for 32 years. And when we started out with this bank, we were doing just fine in our building construction project. Kind of interesting, the bank and as well as the contractors and all that were involved saw fit with a shortfall for the second trustee on our facility. And when the actually when the recession hit and things were not going as well as they should, we went to the bank to ask for a modification for relief from a very high interest second trust deed. At that point, they would not do it. We fell behind just a little, and they would not refinance that second trust deed, and therefore put us into a situation where we were being foreclosed upon. This was in late 2011, and we've not been able to resolve these issues since then. And we feel as though we could, but and we were certainly willing to make payments and pay for our facility, but the bank will not cooperate with us, and so we were in this situation. And I feel as though in times like these, especially in recession, there ought to be some type of compromise that could be made so that churches in the minority community, especially long-standing institutional churches, will have an opportunity to keep their facilities and move forward and continue to service their community.
Thank you, Mr. Watts. Now, one of the things that is really apparent here is that the churches that are being subject to these foreclosure proceedings or being threatened with foreclosure proceedings or having been sold that have taken place after the cease and desist order of 2010 is really uncognizable. We're dealing with a situation here where when we look at churches as a whole, we're looking at probably the cornerstone of our communities. That being said, the loss of one church is huge in the community context. The loss of 59 churches? I mean, that's unimaginable. You know, what we have when we look at this situation as a whole is indicative of everything for profit and nothing for community. We have a lending institution here who actually, in many cases, reached out, starting years ago, to a minority community that was unable to obtain financing and began setting up financing programs, which was really commendable. However, over the years, they have progressed to the point where what was commendable is no longer commendable. I really find myself kind of at a loss for words here, and I'm not usually at a loss for words, folks, but I just have so much difficulty with this because this strikes at the heart of our community, and it really says to me that this institution may well, in fact, be part of a much bigger program, and we are unaware of it, and we're just now beginning to see the edges of it as it begins to unfold. And I think we need to take a real hard look at the lending practices across the board in regard to our religious institutions. That being said, I'd like to invite one of the attorneys up to the podium who represents some of the churches. Would you care to introduce yourself?
Yes. Good morning. My name is Greta Curtis. I'm a local attorney here in California. I presently represent Greater Open Door in reference to the issues that they have encountered with Broadway Federal Bank. At the present time, myself and my partner, Ali Monago, are basically working towards assisting the 59 churches that we've become aware of that are suffering from potential foreclosures, receiverships, as well as modifications that just are not going to happen for them because the predatory lending practices of Broadway Federal. In addition to that, at present, we are extending and opening the door to individuals that might have residential loans as well as other commercial entities as well as the church, besides the churches and besides individual homeowners. It's a systemic problem in our neighborhood, in our community, that we're giving loans that the bank, Broadway Federal, knows that these people cannot pay back, the church can't pay it back, nor can the individuals. So we set up a hotline, and that number is area code 213-351-9583, and there's another number, area code 213-480-5900. If you're interested in obtaining some information that can be instrumental in helping you to save your property, save your church, save your community and your neighborhood, please give us a call. While this is a big thing, it's not too big for God to take and work through you and through myself and Ms. Monaco to rectify. It's our communities, it's our neighborhoods. We need our churches. They provide invaluable services to us, whatever we're not getting at home, in the schools, or from the government, or from our own efforts. We look to our churches for that, and it would just be a grave, grave, grave mistake for us to just back out or kowtow at this point in time, because we have strength in numbers, and we can work together to rectify this travesty that's occurring in our neighborhood.
Yeah, our primary goal today is to let you know that we're here for the churches. We're here to assist them in researching and unraveling the allegations that's been made against Broadway Bank, and to do whatever is necessary to clear that situation up. Thank you.
Thank you.
One thing that becomes very, very clear in this situation is that the conduct of Broadway Federal Savings and Loan, Broadway Federal Bank, is really extremely duplicitous, in that they know full well that they are operating in disregard to a cease and desist order and to a suspension. Yet they do not inform those that they are dealing with. They act as if they could or could not, meaning they have the ability to make a decision that could possibly have a positive effect. And then they lay out some tenets that they would like those individuals or those organizations or churches to adhere to, when they know full well that they cannot perform. With that, I'd like to close and say thank you. Oh, hold on. We have ended.
No, that's fine. We can't do that. That's fine.
Okay, let it go, George. Cut it off.